Hey, it's Kirk Harnack at the MaxxKonnect booth here at NAB 2026, but that's not so important. What's more important is that Micah Dempsey is here, and Micah is like one of the genius guys behind MaxxKonnect. He knows all about how they work, how radio stations use them, any broadcaster, anybody who needs what kind of data? Prioritized data at a transmitter site, at a remote location.
Exactly. Yep.
And not only prioritize data, with most of the setups, most of the plans, you also get a fixed
public static IP comes with most of the services.
Public static IP address.
Yep.
So if you need to reach into a remote site, you know its IP address.
Yep, and you can configure those multiple ways with port forwarding or any use for the public static IP.
Well, we got several different models here, and one thing that we should probably point out, or we'll point out after we go through the models, is that you choose a model of MaxxKonnect gateway router based upon your needs, and we'll help you figure that out. But in another sense, it almost doesn't matter which one you have. It's the SIM that does the magic.
Yep, and that's kind of what we always say. The magic's not in the hardware, it's with the service.
Nevertheless, choosing the right hardware can be helpful.
Right. There's a variety of different models that we use depending on the application. They all have different features for different needs.
This is the one that I carry with me,
yep.
And it's got a battery backup.
Yep, so these down here both have the built-in battery backups, so they have portability options and also kind of safety feature. If someone bumps the table, knocks power supply, you're not offline.
Gotcha. If I'm doing a live remote and I'm all out of outlet strips, this battery's good for a few hours, isn't it?
It'll run about 6 to 8 hours on a full charge while sending an audio stream.
By the way, if we didn't make it clear, and we may not have, we may have assumed something, what this does is this gets on a cellular network with a special APN, which stands for...
that is the access point name.
Access point name.
That's for the cellular connectivity.
And those APNs have been pre-arranged and pre-contracted to give you the prioritized data we talked about, the static IP address, and it's exactly the level of data that broadcasters tend to need. This is getting you internet data. These are getting you on the internet so you can reach in, reach out, get your live broadcast done, get your remote control readings, all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure we explain that. So this one's great to throw in your suitcase, throw in your backpack, throw in your Go kit.
And you could honestly fit it in your pocket because the antenna's just
they fold down like that. And they're so cute when they're up. And these two essentially do the same thing, right?
Right, yeah. These are essentially the same thing with different features. These have the removable antennas, and then this one has a removable battery. So you can...
And we can't see it right here, right now, but I'll show you on this one.
Yep.
You also get wired connections. So a lot of these hotspots these days just do Wi-Fi.
Yep.
But you may have some equipment that you need a wired connection to it.
Yep.
And so they have WAN and LAN 1 and LAN 2. Having these two, this acts like a router if you needed to, right?
That is another big thing with all these. These aren't your traditional consumer hotspots. They're all fully functional routers with that embedded LTE modem, so you can use them without service and just use them for the routing functions.
So what do these units, how do they differ?
So these are the more industrial options. These would be better for a fixed location. You could still use them portably, but this one in particular is the 5G model, so it has faster throughput. You could still use it with LTE service. And you'll get better speeds typically. It also has a lot more Ethernet connections here, so you can use it without having to add a switch on the end of it, depending on how many devices you may have on there.
Right. And this one?
This is kind of similar feature. This is just 4G, and that's another thing with the display here is these do have the DIN rail attachments, so it's nice for a transmitter install, especially if you're limited on rack space or anything like that. You can kind of find a spot on the wall. Which is also beneficial if you're doing external antennas to have it closer to the outside port that you're going to be feeding the antenna line.
Micah, when we talk about prioritized data, help me understand exactly what that means. Why is that important to me?
Well, essentially, when you get to a congested area, that's where you're going to want that. And, when a lot of people start filling up kind of all the devices hitting one cell tower, that's when things will start to get throttled, and that's where the prioritization, especially with our service, it stays steady and reliable, and that's what you need when you're sending audio stream, right?
And that's accomplished by some set-aside bandwidth and some set-aside infrastructure only for people on a service like this one.
Correct, yep.
Okay, so I can't go to the T-Mobile store and buy this myself, can I?
Not this level of priority now.
Not the, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, speak of levels, let's talk about support for a second. I have spent hours, literally hours on the phone with support from the basic, the main carriers. Say, hey, I was promised unlimited data and you're overcharging me. I was promised a static IP address from my salesperson. How do I get that done? And I mean, it's hours later. Support is different when you get MaxxKonnect service. How's it different?
Well, and that's really all these products, it's packaged together through us. So you get the pre-programmed device, everything comes, and then we are the first line of support for that. So any issues, you go through us. You don't have to call the 1-800 number. You don't have to go through multiple points of contact. It's just through us. So it kind of keeps it all streamlined for you.
Gotcha. So my first call is not to AT&T or T-Mobile. It's to MaxxKonnect.
Right.
I'm going to talk to somebody who understands broadcast engineering.
Yep. That's another big thing is we all know what you're talking about when you're talking about your specific devices you're having issues with. We use that same equipment, so we're familiar with it. Whereas if you called, a carrier, they're not going to know what you're talking about.
I want to mention a feature that I find to be huge, and that is at all my transmitter sites, I need both Wi-Fi and I need wired.
Mm-hmm.
I have devices that need wired. I've got cameras that need Wi-Fi,
mm-hmm.
and so I need both. And at most of my sites, that involves an access point, a router, maybe maybe a router with Wi-Fi built in, but involves several wall warts and some cables. And I can't send the general manager out there to look at it or fix it or wire it up.
Tell them to reboot the box and switch box.
Right. But all of your models here have both Wi-Fi and wired. Here's an example. This one has wired connections on it,
yep.
Plus it has Wi-Fi. I just got to say, this makes it super convenient for an engineer or to send somebody to the transmitter site.
Right.
And just for equipping the transmitter site. One box does everything that I need.
Exactly, yeah, because they all have the embedded modems in there for the cellular connectivity, and then they're fully functional routers. So you can do everything you can do with a normal router, plus that built-in Wi-Fi feature is pretty handy as well.
Let's talk about a service that it's an interesting niche product. A lot of us have devices at the transmitter site that need a POTS line. Copper, got the right battery voltage, got the right ring voltage, handles DTMF or maybe pulse dialing. And there are a number of ATAs, analog terminal adapters, on the market that supposedly can handle this. And I hear at SBE meetings, hey, I tried plugging my sign systems or my Gentner remote control into an ATA, it didn't work.
Sometimes they don't work, and there's certain setting features that might be on those ATAs, they might not be.
Yeah.
And that's one, we've found some that we've tested and proven, and that's the ones we use. So we pre-program all that right custom to what your remote control is, and that's kind of what we have on display here is the old rotary dial phone here and the DTMF phone. So just to kind of demonstrate the pulse dial out. And these are actually live here on the floor too. We're running the internet provided to the ATA just through a cellular router, but you could get internet from any source, right? So it doesn't necessarily need MaxxKonnect service to work. It just needs internet.
So the way you guys handle this is $20 a month. You get a 10-digit phone number for your area. So you get a phone number.
Yep.
And then you get the service that lets you get a POTS line into your remote control.
Yeah.
And we give the number.
Really, really just the MaxxPhone itself, it's just the hardware cost and then the monthly service line for that phone number. And then, if you're having MaxxKonnect, you can bundle that with that, or you can just use any internet provider.
Yeah. So at your transmitter site, if you have legacy gear that you're not ready to replace yet, you're not ready to get internet connected gear or VoIP gear, you want to keep using a POTS line, but that POTS line is costing you $80, $90, $100 a month.
Right.
Get rid of that. Get internet to the transmitter site. You can do that with MaxxKonnect if you want to, and then get the MaxxPhone service to get you a phone line that works with your legacy gear.
Right, and it's just like all the other services where it's fully pre-programmed by us and supported by us. So, one-stop shop.
One call to you guys. Micah, thanks very much. I appreciate your expertise, and you need to talk to Micah for telephony and connectivity needs. This stuff really works. I'm Kirk Harnack for MaxxKonnect.